Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call to order this Permanent Valley Utilities Services meeting for May 15th. Are there any changes to the agenda? Changes or approving?
No.
Moving as presented, Director Mack, second by Director Kent. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we have no close. We're going to go right into our delegations at 5.1. First up, we have a representative from the Pemberton Animal Wellbeing Society. Come on up and do this.
Thank you so much for having us. Well, just me today, but I'm us in spirit. We are submitting a funding request for our Remain at Home program, which is fondly referred to as the RAH program. It is a spay and neuter program. So we're just going to dive right in in the first 6 weeks of 2025, the Pemberton Animal Wellbeing Society received surrender requests for over 20 puppies. That's one puppy every 2 days, desperately needing safety, veterinary care, food, and shelter. To date, in 2025, PAWS has received surrender requests for over 50 dogs and puppies from the surrounding areas. The severity of this crisis becomes clear when you consider that just a few years ago, we received only 3 to 4 puppy surrender requests per year. Today, we're often facing that same number every month. Pemberton Animal Wellbeing Society, a registered charity with our shelter based in Pemberton, serves communities from Squamish in the south all the way to Lillooet in the north. Our mission is to promote the welfare of animals for the benefit of the public. We are one of 2 key lifelines for animals in rural communities where veterinary care is scarce or non-existent. Together with Whistler Animals Galore, WAG, we work tirelessly to serve the Sea to Sky region. With no BC SPCA coverage between Squamish and Kamloops, the need often exceeds our combined capacity. Despite our small size, our impact is enormous. In 2024, we provided full care, including spay and neuter surgeries for 35 dogs and 35 cats that came through our shelter before being adopted. Through our Remain at Home program in 2024, we were able to facilitate an additional 6 surgeries for families to keep their beloved pets when they had nowhere else to return. The RAH program in 2025 has so far provided 7 spay surgeries. Our team of 20 dedicated volunteers logs over 2,200 hours just for basic shelter operations, with hundreds of additional hours spent on veterinary care, adoptions, training, fundraising, and administration. The overwhelming surge in unwanted litters and surrenders from across the region has created a heartbreaking reality. There are simply too many. In many rural areas, veterinary clinics are hours away. Spay and neuter surgeries are financially out of reach for most families. Without intervention, the problem only grows. RAH provides financial assistance, transportation, recovery stays at the shelter, and education to help low-income, fixed income, or families simply struggling to spay and neuter their pets, preventing the suffering before it begins. An unspayed female can give birth multiple times per year, with 6 to 11 puppies per litter and 2 to 3 litters annually, potential for one unspayed female to birth 27 puppies each year. Those puppies then go on to birth more, and the numbers grow exponentially. For intact males, there is no limit to their contribution. RAH funding in a single year could prevent between 180 and 412 puppies from being born. Over time, this impact multiplies as each generation that would have been born is also prevented, breaking the cycle of overpopulation and suffering at its source. Most recently, 1 week before Christmas 2024, a local family reached out, overwhelmed and unsure of where to turn. Their 2 female dogs had given birth within 1 week of each other, bringing 11 puppies into the world. The younger mother, barely a year old herself, was struggling to produce enough milk. With temperatures dropping and little support available, the family knew they needed help. PAWS was able to assist, although tragically 2 of the puppies had already passed before they could reach us. The remaining 9, however, flourished with emergency veterinary care, the dedication of our volunteers, and the warmth of foster families. 2 in particular, Cookie and Shortbread, were so fragile that they required round-the-clock bottle feeding just to survive. Their journey, however, doesn't end there. Finding homes for puppies like these is becoming increasingly challenging every day as adoption rates decline. Thanks to our Remain at Home program, both mother dogs have now been spayed, ensuring they will never have to be mothers again. The total cost of 2 spay surgeries was $2,300. Families contribute where they can, and ultimately, they're just happy to be able to keep their pets. PVUS has over 3,000 followers on Instagram, hosts multiple fundraising events throughout the year within the community, attends wellness clinics with WAG, and works closely with local veterinary teams to provide care with compassion, and it continues to build positive relationships within the First Nations communities. RA isn't just about funding spay and neuter surgeries. It keeps pets with their families. Right now, both PAWS and WAG are at maximum capacity. Our shelters have waiting lists of animals to be surrendered, full kennels, and limited resources. Every spay and neuter surgery funded through RA prevents dozens of future surrenders. It reduces the overwhelming strain on our regional shelters, and most importantly, it creates a long-term sustainable plan for our entire community. The success of this program will lower the number of animals that are surrendered to shelters in Pemberton, Whistler, Squamish, and across BC. Its impacts will be profound, allowing more families to keep their cherished pets while lowering animal mortality in the community. Thank you so much for inviting us here today and taking the time to listen. We truly appreciate the opportunity to share the challenges our shelter and community face and to highlight the ways we can create lasting change together. Your support means the world to us, not just to us, but to the animals and families whose lives might be transformed through this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
So, what is the cost of spaying and neutering per animal?
Per animal, so it does vary. So you can spay or neuter from 6 months of age. If we can spay and neuter at such a young age, because they tend to be smaller with fewer complications. For spay surgery from a female is roughly $600, and for a male, $400. The costs increase as the dogs grow, and especially for females, if they've had previous litters, the surgeries become far more complex and costs increase. If we can get them young, it's better.
Okay, and that's the best price available, is it?
That's the best price. We work with Pemberton Veterinary just across the way and Eagleview Veterinary down in Squamish, and they both offer shelter discounts, which range from roughly 20 to 40%.
Off of that price?
No, that's our shelter. Yeah, that's our shelter
price.
If you just wander in off the street, your cost is more.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Question, do you feel that you're going to need this funding? It's a one-of, I understand, but is this going to be an ongoing year after year, or why is it you're just asking for the one?
For the one time. So we fundraise within the community as well. We're looking for this funding to really boost, to have a larger impact in a shorter period of time. We had success a few years ago in 2023. We did a big push on cats, and we spayed and neutered 75 cats in the region with our own funding through fundraisers and donations. And since then, we have seen a huge decline in the number of cats and kittens coming through the shelter, to the point at the moment we don't have any kittens at the shelter. So we can only think that if we can do a big push, the more you can do in a small period of time, the less, it rapidly declines the number of puppies being produced. So yes, it will be ongoing, but with a really pointed focus in the beginning, we think that'll bolster the plan. Yeah.
Questions? Thanks for your presentation. Just so you know, we're going to be going through all the presentations, and later in the agenda, we'll be in case you wonder why we don't have a quick discussion.
No, absolutely.
Thanks
Any
very much,
further
Vic.
questions, I'll be here. Thank you.
Next up, we have Pemberton Valley Senior Society. Trying to set the table with this.
Good afternoon. So, thank you for this opportunity to present. The Pemberton Valley Senior Society is a registered society, and they've been operating in the Pemberton Valley for 20 years. I'm Brenda McLeod, in case some of you, I don't know everyone, and this is Christine Tim. I'm the secretary, and Christine is the president now. She was treasurer up until this year. We did send in a written presentation because we weren't aware of the process. but we now are aware of the process, so we would just like to present again. We'd like to thank PVUS for the $5,000 financial support that was supplied to the seniors last fall in 2024. We very much appreciate the funds. We submitted a breakdown, and all the funds allocated for monthly luncheons were spent. We used the $5,000 for that. And we were grateful for it because our numbers increased. More and more seniors are moving to our area, some to recreate in retirement and some to be closer to their children and grandchildren. The seniors bring new ideas and new experiences to our community as their knowledge, expertise, and talents meld within the community. I just saw a senior just now as I was coming in with an challenged adult, and they were at the community center, and it was just a lovely thing to see. A good example of the seniors and their integration into the community was the music enjoyment group when they entertained at Christmas in the rec. And we were playing music and singing as all the parents and the children entered, and then they went through to see Santa. And we had parents and children singing with the seniors. It was really good to see. It was heartwarming. Also, the Pemberton Secondary School Foods class, they prepare a meal every year prior to Christmas for the seniors, and then they join the seniors for lunch. So the seniors really try to have a presence in the community and collaborate with other community members. The executive of the Pemberton Seniors is comprised of volunteers who are seniors themselves. The workload for the executive board of directors has increased as the number of members has increased and as the number of activities and programs have expanded. The Pemberton Valley Seniors currently have 112 members. I think that has increased to about 114.
If they all pay their dues by the end of the month, yes.
The management of the PVSS operations as a registered society, the planning, the monthly activities, and the management of the website and membership all takes considerable time. In the distant past, we recall a person managing much of the seniors' activities, but in the last 10 years, mostly seniors have been managing their own activities with fewer members actually involved in the planning part of it. For now, we've worked out a plan to distribute the tasks amongst the seniors to lighten the load. So we've sort of took apart the executive duties, and it's working a little bit better now because Chris was doing probably 100% of the work. We anticipate at some point possibly needing to establish a part-time paid position in the event that we do not have enough knowledgeable, willing, and able volunteers to take on some of the work. That's not an urgent thing at the moment, but it could happen. At times, physical is not easy for seniors. The person would possibly be responsible for coordinating lunches, helping to set up and take down tables and chairs at the Legion and the Rec, help with bookkeeping, filing government society reports, and information sharing through phone calls and management of the society website. A few new people stepped up to join the executive this AGM, so the jobs have been redistributed to lighten the load. We know it is not easy for seniors to volunteer when they have medical challenges, and some are caregivers. We have discussed ways to increase our income so we can continue subsidizing meals and programs. We thought of increasing charges to seniors for membership, meals, and activities. However, we are cognizant of the fact that seniors struggle with day-to-day expenses on their pensions and have little extra disposable funds. Some seniors have confided that the cost of lunches at $10 for each person is something hard to afford once per month with their other expenses of medication and travel out of town to specialist appointments. We have also kept membership fees low so it is affordable for seniors to join the Pemberton Valley Senior Society. The society is blessed to have gathering places in the community that welcome seniors and support their activities. That is a big, big benefit. We are so grateful to the Legion for their space and to the community center and the Rec. All seniors very much appreciate that. We're also grateful for the transportation support that we receive from the Better at Home program that provides transportation complete with a professional driver. The van seats 7 individuals and has wheelchair access. Seniors are starting to get into the routine of using the bus to attend activities and also appreciate the trips out of the community to Whistler and Squamish. Seniors who do not drive have become isolated in Pemberton due to there not being a public transportation system. Seniors who have been isolated are now enjoying the ability to get out of the house, and their mental health is better from participating in excursions. There is limited shopping for clothing and some other necessities in our community, so it's important for some seniors to be able to get out of the community too, because they don't use computers and do online shopping, many of them. We have seniors who also use the Better at Home bus to visit a husband, wife, or a friend at Hilltop or Squamish Hospital. The majority of funds we received from PVUS last year were needed to support the monthly luncheons. The benefits of this monthly luncheon are many. For some, it is the opportunity to socialize. For others, it is a healthy home-cooked meal that they may not make for themselves. Sometimes visitors, musicians, entertainers, or guests come to entertain and speak on various topics. There is often a treasure table where seniors can find books and other items others are wishing to part with. It is a great opportunity as well for seniors to connect and celebrate birthdays for the month. A year ago or so, the Pemberton Valley seniors would host approximately 30 to 40 seniors at the Legion for a luncheon. We are now hosting 60 seniors at the luncheons, about a 40 to 50% increase. We are wondering if we may need to cap the number attending. However, realizing the importance of connecting with other seniors, we do not want to be turning seniors away. The cost per person for catering for lunches is between $22 and $25 per plate. The Pemberton Valley Supermarket is giving the seniors a percentage discount for groceries purchased for the monthly luncheons. A local senior who is a chef has kindly offered to prepare luncheons in the Legion kitchen for the time being. So we're very fortunate to have David Blake to prepare lunches, and they're very healthy and nutritional, and he's very good at making desserts. If he's not able to continue, we will need to search for other caterers, which takes up considerable time and has been a challenge in the past. For 60 meals, we feel the net cost after seniors pay their $10 is approximately $1,200 per month this year. Since January, that's what the cost has been, about 12. Sometimes it went up to 13, depending on what meat, I guess, and the expensive food that when you cost it out. It's hard to estimate costs we've got tariffs happening and cost increases are always happening, it seems. We discussed less costly options. However, sometimes they're not as healthy and it's more carbohydrate based. So our request this year, now that we understand the process, is we would like to apply for the maximum. I believe it's either 5,000 or 7,000. And we will apply in the fall. I think going forward, the seniors have recognized that we would really benefit from an annual support for the activities and programs, as I've sort of outlined in our presentation. And this year we have celebrated 20 years of operation, and we certainly appreciate what we receive from local government, because I think going forward without it, a lot of these programs and the luncheons won't be able to continue. Thank you.
You.
Do you have anything else to offer?
No, just that we are a registered charity as well as a registered society. And our membership numbers being what they are, that has helped to subsidize the meals. And last year we collected nearly $4,000 from the $10 coming in. Plus we had the membership, but like Brenda says, if we raise the membership, it's going to exclude a number of people, and we don't want to do that. And to do fundraising of many kinds, it requires input from the membership physically, to do things in kind. And when your membership is averaging ages like 75, 85, we have a couple of 90-year-olds, over 90, they're not wanting to get physically involved in doing it. It's just too much for them. Or their younger ones are busy looking after their grandchildren and things like that. So it's a little bit difficult. We did do it a few years ago. And getting everybody together to actually physically do something is pretty challenging. Except when it's fitness, we go to that.
Thanks to both of you. Questions? Director Mack?
How many actual members do you have now?
At this moment, our membership year ends at the end of May. And I have 83 members that have renewed or joined in this period of time. And I'm sure it's going to be over 100 because at the end of last year, we do a fiscal year for bookkeeping, but we decided the membership year should be June to May, to get it away from Christmas and all those expenses, and also gives us time to, get things going and get the programs organized and encourage people to join. And this renewal rate, I couldn't believe it. People were renewing in March. They wanted to be renewed. So this next lunch at the end of this month, that will be kind of the deadline for when people will renew. But I'm confident that we'll have over 100.
Well, that's excellent.
We do.
I just want to thank you guys for all your help, and I had the opportunity to attend the event at Naquaqua not long ago, and it was a lovely event with the two communities together, the two senior communities, and we had fun doing crafts and all of that. And got to say, Tara with Better at Homes
She was
she
great.
put on a lovely.
Yeah.
It was great, but thank you guys, and I've attended the lunches as well, and
Maybe I
it's
could.
really nice. So thank you for all your hard work, because it sure is appreciated in this community.
Thank you. One thing that we're working with Tom at the community center to coordinate a kind of major get together with the Mount Currie people to come and do carpet bowling, possibly bingo, but we can't really compete with them for bingo because they're really good at it. So we are really working on getting probably in September. And of course, food is always essential if you have get-togethers, and that we have no idea how many would come.
Awesome. Well, agreed. Thank you for the work you guys do and for being here today. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yes, up to the figure we still move the 8.4 up. Okay, next up, we have Tourism Pemberton. Why not?
So echo the whole presentation. Thank you so much for having us today. This is very important for all our organization. Tourism Pemberton is also a not-for-profit. We benefit from the PVUS program as a long-term funding. We currently hired 2 part-time positions, so we took that's basically what we use the PVUS grant for. So it's to help us manage all our grant. So we have 2 part-times and employees that are leading operation and marketing, and then we operate with a volunteer board and a lot of volunteer to make programs like the backcountry outhouses, Range Beyond Range, Slow Food Cycle, the Pemberton Farms. So we have a lot going on, and in the past few years we have managed successfully over $500,000 in grants. So the grants have to be assigned for particular projects, and usually they can't cover any of our labor or anything related to tourism except for the project themselves, or like the structure or the material. So we have become very good at managing with little of our time, little resource, but being able to do big projects. But that kind of thing, this is now 15 location that benefits our community and the visitor. And the presentation today is linked to, we're gonna take on a new project, the visitor center. So as you might know, the location that was on the highway has now been taken down in September 2024, and then there will be a new development on the the land. So in aligned with our responsible and sustainable tourism mission, we were donated the vent shed. So just 2 days ago, we painted it, moved it in place. So I don't know if you had the chance to walk by the Blackbird Bakery yet. I wasn't able to submit visual on time, so you're gonna have to follow us on social or just walk by and come say hello. So we have our sign that says coming soon. So originally, the visitor center always opened during the May long weekend. So you're gonna find our board just volunteering, doing the decking and preparing the inside of the little center. So it's gonna be a window service, so the visitors are not gonna be able to come in. But we are looking forward to service everyone. Already starting Wednesday, I know Reagan at the bakery mentioned there was already visitors. Everybody's already excited to see what's gonna be the concept, and we are very excited to offer an experience there. And then the presentation today and our request is to unfreeze or transfer, I should say. So originally the chamber was receiving $8,000 to operate the visitor center. So I believe this is going to be transferred to Tourism Pemberton. And in our request, we added $2,000 because obviously with the visitor center needed to move. So there were costs for painting, moving, and then we just need to make the little shed that was donated operational. So the $8,000 is for operations, so it's to help us with our staff and with marketing opportunity that we do during the season. But there was extra cost for our first season in moving the building in place and having it ready. Yeah, I just wanted to see that it's already well received, and it's I think that it was a big need from the community. We had a lot of members reaching out with visitor wondering where to go to have this information. So in the beginning, when the visitor center was shut down, we were wondering what is the need or what the community will want, what the visitor is, if a physical location is required. And then a lot of members spoke to like requests or having a lot of visitor wandering in town and wondering, and they just go to other business, ask questions. So I think that as our mandate to manage tourism, so we just want to bring everybody at the same place and then direct them and obviously offer some education to not have people wandering or going places we don't want to go. So we want to showcase our member, everything that Pemberton has to offer, and we want to support them as well. There was also a common thread thinking that when the visitor center was on the highway, was mostly just kind of like a stop, and then we were not retaining the tourism dollar, which helped our economic development as a community. So that's what we're going to take on this year as a project. We're going to try to bring those dollars into our community and benefit from it. And I think that is all on this one. And there is also a second item in the request, which is a conversation that's been going on for, I think, the past 4 years regarding the Nairn parking lot snow removal in the winter. And so I believe the first 2 years, there was a partnership between Tourism Pemberton, SLRD, and the Village of Pemberton regarding the safety of having vehicle on the highway parking and not accessing the park. So we did an agreement with BC Park that we would manage it, but unfortunately, the cost associated with the contractor doing we don't have this in our budget. So we are just wondering if this collaboration could come back, and then BC Park would hopefully cover one of the part, and then we would do another three-way where SLID or the PDIF, Tourism Pemberton, and then BC Park would be collaborating into bringing this to our community and visitors for the winter months.
Awesome, thank you. Questions?
Well, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thanks. Where is there going to be signage at the entrance to town to point visitors to the new center?
There is a sign coming up from Modi on the highway. I believe they're using the same one as the museum, and it will be the I for information. It will say 1.2 kilometer turn left, and then southbound same. They're actually same direction, 1.2 kilometer. And then the Village of Pemberton had this amazing solution on Birch Street, the lamppost that is at the corner of the pharmacy. So we're gonna have a 24/36 that says visitor center and washroom this way, and then we're gonna direct RV parking to the barn parking, so we don't overwhelm the parking in front of the businesses. And the visitor center is in place, well, I'll call it a kiosk, and it's right next to Blackbird Bakery.
By this morning, looks like it's always been there almost.
Yeah, there was a lot of people excited. There were kids, we craned it into place, so it was a whole happening, and a lot of people that are hanging out in the park were wondering if you're gonna have this house for rental.
So with this setup, it's window service, it's not quite the same as the Sandy Dump attached. Is it gonna have the same staffing requirements? I'm just considering your $8,000 request. That in the past was to cover staffing, and there was also summer student work. Partners that you
We have a partnership with Lillooet employment and training program. So Toby is a returning employee from the visitor center, so I met her yesterday. And she's gonna be our full-time Thursday to Sunday. The opening hours are a trial from Thursday to Sunday, 9 to 5. And then she is paid by the Lillooet Nation program, and then they're gonna try to get us 2 more summer student, maybe part-time, so that they can support. And then we wanted also to do an ambassador program, so maybe have Toby sometimes at other businesses, and at the visitor center we'll say, today find us at Valkyrie Coffee or at the Pemberton Valley Lodge or found us at Covert House, so that we bring people to other members and we trial summer. But yeah, I met Toby yesterday and she was very excited, and we're preparing her new t-shirts.
So again, do you have the same level of staffing in this place as you had in the last? It's the same amount, or?
It was run by the chamber, but I think they had probably more employee because they had a manager.
Yeah,
and then-
imagine you often had 2, there was often 2 overlapping.
And it was a safety issue as well because of the location. So I spoke with Toby yesterday because they had that Dutch door, so that when there's only one employee, they can't, no one can come in. And then she said, like, obviously moving the center into town, like she feels way more safe
Sure.
having neighbors. So they would be, I'm not sure if they had more than 3 students before, but the manager, so I will be taking on the duty of supervising the team. So maybe that role, and then volunteer, so we'll have.
So do you have the same amount of staffing costs is my question with less staff in there? I'm just.
Less.
It's $8,000, like you said, that we used to put towards the chamber to
Yeah.
run it. I'm wondering if it's the same cost
Yeah,
for staff,
they had-
and you're asking for $2,000 more, so I'm just trying to wrap my
Yeah.
head around that part.
Yeah, they had $30,000 in staffing, if I understand correctly, so we're definitely downsizing from that. The 1 full-time student and then 2 part-times.
I'm just processing your request for the same 8,000 and an additional 2. I get that you have moving costs.
Yeah.
For sure, but I'm just trying to, make sure that we're spending the money where it's needed. Like if it's less staff, then we'll fund less. staff.
We did go over their budget, and then we saw that their staffing was a little bit unrealistic because they did not have the funding to cover, so we're definitely having a window service, I think, will help us downsizing these costs and staying within budget.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. And I wanted to
One more
thank,
question.
oh yeah,
My question is is the Sandy Dump, I guess there's none in town now.
That's not we can talk about that later. We're looking at setting that up in the industrial park.
Okay, I was just wondering if
Yeah,
it's
so it's
still
now
under
separate.
the tourism.
Right now, it's a separate project that's being managed by the village. And we've looked at a few different locations and talked to a few different people, see if somebody wanted to privately operate it. Right now, the location we're looking at is next to the transfer station, so it'll be operated out of that location, so it's separate now.
Mhm. But not now.
Pardon me?
No, it's not in
It's not
place
in-
now. Okay, so we're looking,
I mean, we've just sort of made these last steps in the last few weeks, and I know there's some funding that might come to this table or to the many funds or whatever to help support the work potentially on getting it going, but.
So just some information. When we had the first festival in 2008, we used the manhole right beside the old transfer station, right on Industrial Way. And everything was dumped in there and then off to the surplus, and that worked really well, and that was a large amount of
Yeah, I don't think there's enough room for RVs and that to pull in and turn around on that spot. There's.
So you'd have to go around the block sort of thing.
And
But anyways,
you have more than one and.
but you can definitely do that, dump into,
We have, Village has a
Yeah.
property right next to the transfer station, as you know.
yeah.
We feel that that would be the best spot.
Right on.
And we can give you more information if you
Yeah.
want to know.
Yeah.
Stay on Christine's topic here for now, but
No, I think it's a nice segue because I wanted to take the time to thank the Village of Pemberton team because when the visitor center was dismantled, they took on the project with us and Elizabeth, Jeff, Tom and Lindsay, thank you for their time and enthusiasm because they really took our idea and make it happen. So yeah, we were looking for a location to have the visitor center in the Sanidam, but for now and the time it was just not. So that's
That's-
separate the ideas.
Yeah, as this group as well was very concerned, and we're thanking you guys for stepping up and getting something going. You know, it's kind of thinking outside the box a little bit, and that's
Yeah,
great.
We had great support to think outside the box and
Yeah.
give us, a location to do so.
That's great.
Thank you.
Team effort.
so I'd like to suggest to the community, if you guys are open, that we move 8.4 in the agenda up so that we can consider these requests.
Yeah.
Which is still here. So we're gonna jump ahead and.
Friendly.
We're gonna do your funding request now. It's up to you.
Yes, you do it, you do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on 8.4, which is Permanent District Initiative Fund, the one-time requests that we heard today.
So Veronica Reed, Project and Program Coordinator with the SLRD. So we have 3 organizations for one-time funding today that were here as delegations because they're requesting over $5,000. And that is part of the current policy. Revisions to the policy have not yet been completed, so I just wanted to make a note that we did have the intention to raise that minimum to 7,000. That'll be coming forward later, like in July, so we're still at a $5,000 maximum in the policy for one-time funding. The economic development stream has $52,793 currently. And the arts, culture, recreation has $56,677, so it's leaving room for future one-time requests for 2025. So the first request is from Pemberton Animal Wellbeing Society, and they're looking for $7,000 from the economic development stream for the Remain at Home Spay and Neuter program. They currently receive long-term funds from PDIF. This program's in addition to what that long-term agreement is for. Did you want to go through them one by one?
Let's do it one at a time, please. Any thoughts on the first one?
I'd like to move that. As requested.
I'll
Second
second that.
discussion? Call the
Just
question.
that it's a wonderful thing.
Call the question, any opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead.
The next request is for the Pemberton Valley Seniors Society, and they're also looking for $7,000 from the Arts, Culture and Recreation stream. This is to keep their luncheons going through 2025. And I sort of talked about the long-term funding opportunity. So they're gonna come back with, do they need staff? Do they need more help? A full plan at our annual intake this fall. But this one-time request is to sort of bridge that gap and keep the momentum going through this year to carry on into a long-term plan. So yeah, they're looking for $7,000 as well.
Comments?
No, I think this is, being a senior,
Are you see?
I think I am.
Ditto.
My wife keeps telling me that, and Jen. But anyways, yeah, I would move option 1, which is to approve the one-time funding for the amount requested. Thank you.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And then the third request we have is Tourism Pemberton. So that one has 2 items. The first being in the economic development stream for the revitalization and operations of the visitor center. So they're looking for the $8,000 plus an additional 2 to fix up the building and get it operating. And we previously gave $8,000 to the chamber, which was returned this year in 2025 back to the PVUS fund to make it able to be applied for Tourism Pemberton. And the second, do you want to do that one first? It's gonna be a
Yes,
second
yes.
resolution.
Yeah. Mover,
Yeah, I'll move
second,
it. So we're moving what?
we're moving
One and one.
the 10,000 for
Yeah.
the visitor center, and then we'll talk
Okay.
about there in a sec. Seconded. I would say as discussion that I do wanna. We hand out this money, this is taxpayers' money, so we gotta be careful about it, as always, if we wanna be responsible. Happy to support visitor center. I just wanna understand that we're funding it to the right amount, so for next year's request, I'd like to understand. You know, again, that's why I asked the questions about staffing levels. If you have less staff, why are we funding the same? So this year, to get things going and rolling again, I'm fully supportive. I would like to, when you bring it back next year, to understand why to justify the $8,000 so that we.
Yeah,
Makes
did
sense.
that verify, did I send you the budget? Or do we don't have an attachment? No. Okay, let's go ahead.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep.
I'll call the question. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last one. any
And then,
opposed?
yeah, the last one is for Tourism Pemberton for $2,000 out of Arts, Culture, Recreation stream for the winter maintenance at Nairn Falls. That'll be about half of the invoice. They're usually around $4,000 with BC Parks contributing the other portion.
And sorry, question on that. Do we pay a fixed contract or do we pay per service? And the only reason I ask is I don't think it snowed this year. So.
We receive an invoice, so Danny Strand, he contract snow plowing, and then at the end of the season, some season it went down to like $3,000. And I haven't received this invoice for the season, but like you said, it flips right, and we have $2,000 from BC Park, so.
So I'm just again curious with the money that the taxpayers' money that we put forward for the snow clearing last year, for instance, did we use it all or does some carry over?
Last year we didn't get any money, so we had to. Yeah, last year we didn't.
We didn't contribute snow clearing last year?
No, and it was $4,200, I think.
Huh.
So that's why we brought it back, because we're like, oh, when it goes to $4,000, it's quite, well. Most of our money comes from the PAI fund, so we have to use a part of our personal budget to
Sure.
cover it, and I was like, oh, $4,000 would be worth it to maybe split it in two.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, this year, I haven't received the invoice yet, but I don't think it would be $2,000 hopefully.
I mean, I think that the opening that parking lot is an amazing thing for the community. I think it's so great, especially if you remember the cars parked along the highway beforehand. So I just wanna make sure that if there is money left in the budget, it carries over from year to year. That's
Yeah, I wonder if it should be not maybe a fixed amount, it just be. Because if we don't need that.
Or it could be a separate line that you carry if it's not fully expended in 2024, it gets carried to
Mhm.
next year and comes
So
off
it
the
would be
following
like-
year's request. But again, I think that's a great thing that. And by the way, it's made a lot of other communities jealous and I've had calls from.
Hurt.
Yeah, we wanna open Marble Canyon, we wanna open, so.
Yeah, there was a
People are
whole
jealous of us.
Blue Sky Park snow plowing initiative, and
Yeah.
we're like, we're the lucky ones.
Exactly, yeah. Awesome, thank you. Would somebody like to make a motion? Director Mack, second by Director Kennett, opposed, motion carried. Thanks to you guys for being here. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much for having us. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, we're on to 6, which is the consent agenda. Would anybody like to pull anything out? None, move is presented. Director Mack, second by Director Kent, opposed, motion carries. Takes us to 8.1, SLRB CAO verbal report. Ms. Paul.
Hi, everyone. Heather Paul, CAO at SLRD. Nothing to report today.
Thank you. VOP CAO verbal report, Ms. Kennedy.
Acting CAO, no report today.
Thank you. So we're on to 8.3, request for decision, recreation service report. Recreation service fees and charges, bylaw number 1914. Hi, Christine.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. As this is our last scheduled meeting prior to when we normally increase fees, it was prudent that I get this report to you. As you're aware, fees and charges are how we accurately provide service and ensure we're trying to meet our budgetary requirements. This year we're proposing something different. Instead of a increase across the board for all of our fees and charges. We're proposing a 5% increase to fitness center memberships only. As you are aware, through other reporting sessions, we have lost a couple of long-term tenants who paid facility fees. So with the increase, we've seen a steady increase of individuals coming to use the facility. However, we've had a decrease in overarching revenues received from individual bookings, right? So for instance, Whistler Gymnastics was approximately $25,000 a year in revenue for facility bookings. So what we're striving to do by not increasing facility fees is try and see if we can find another long-term tenant that we can continue to work with. So that's our rationale from that perspective. As well, at the same time, we're still continuing to see a moderate increase in pass sales for the fitness center. And we don't believe a 5% increase to those fees are significant. I think it is a quarter for a drop-in fee is what it works out to be at 5%. Across the board, everything else has been stabilized, and that is our only ask for today for a decision.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I don't know if it's not related, but on our maintenance of our parks, do we have, like, say, Gates Lake Park, when they had the Easter egg weekend? I was there, and the park, it just, the lawns hadn't been mowed, nothing had been done. So were we ahead of schedule, so to speak, for that event? Or do we have a contractor in place
We do, yes.
that's supposed to do stuff on a regular basis?
We do.
Like cut the grass every 2 weeks or do whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because apparently
We
they
were,
missed it.
we were there. So we have confirmation that the contractor was in and cleaned up, cut the grass, moved everything the week before that event, as well as our maintenance staff was up there twice that week.
I have to tell you, they did a horrible job. I mean, I was there and I was looking around going, this is pretty lame. I mean, the weeding and just, they need to step up their game. And then I noticed with the ball diamonds, do we top dress those on an annual basis or?
Out at Meadow Park or at
Well, at
Meadow?
the old high school park.
Yeah.
And I guess with the ball diamond at the school, is that maintained by the school board?
Correct.
So, yeah, how do they run it? But I guess just maintenance wise, do they have a schedule, like, say for top dress, let's say the old high school?
Yeah.
Those, they need to be top dressed again, that lawn and all that stuff, right? So is that in the work plan?
It is, yes. So, and that, the Meadows Field has recently been brought in-house, and Village of Pemberton Parks Department is now maintaining outdoor spaces that used to be managed through contract services. So however, with everything that's happened at Gates, well, not happened, but with the future plans of Gates Lake, we have continued with a contractor for that based on the budget that has been set for that space. So
Gates Lake Park is still under contract then?
correct,
Okay,
yes. And so we're facilitating the contractor to do the maintenance when it comes to cutting the grass. Now, there's been we've recently, the facility maintenance coordinator or supervisor for the village has had to go up to assist in order to do a couple of things up there in the last week or so. And we're checking it weekly, and opened the new washroom and made sure that it was supplied and all of
Yeah,
those.
there's two there now. So
There is.
the other thing too is those big fir trees that are in there. I know in years past, we used to have Garibaldi tree maintenance or whatever go up every spring.
Yeah.
And just take any of the branches out that are broken off, because it's quite windy there coming off the lake. And you do get big broken branches hanging up in the trees.
Yeah.
And I go there and I look and I worry about one of those things coming down
Yeah,
and landing on somebody's head. So somebody should do an annual inspection or whatever on that.
the trees have been inspected.
Okay,
Yeah, the
that's good.
space has been inspected and that is part of the budget on a yearly basis.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
I think there was some, not significant, but there was definitely some work done last year
Yeah,
on, trimming back some of those trees.
Yeah.
However, this year, there was nothing significant required.
yeah, last year
At
there
this
was a
time.
number of
Yeah.
large branches broken and hanging there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Last year, the bill was a little bit more than we anticipated. As a result, however, there was a necessity from a safety perspective, correct?
I just, one question, I had a slow pitch player talk to me about the conditions of the ball fields. And she said that there was a bucket hiding I think an irrigation thing out in, I don't know, one of the field, I don't know if it was left or right field or center field or whatever, but then it had something to do with the irrigation and it was quite dangerous. And she felt overall that the ball diamonds were quite dangerous. And there are two leagues, an A league and a B league, and there's 15 to 20 people in each league. So that's
On
fairly
each-
significant.
each team.
Each team, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a fairly significant
Mhm.
amount of people using the ballpark.
Exactly.
So I'm
We
just.
have irrigation out at the meadows, so
Well,
was it
I
at the?
think
I think
it might have
probably
been
the
at
school.
If it was at the
the
school,
Yeah.
that is
So if-
school district 48.
Yeah,
So
but if
they-
there can be some kind of liaison maybe between recreation and the school and see if they can fix
Well, do
that.
we pay a lease?
We do
Hey,
not,
Do we,
For the,
do we
do
lease that?
we do not.
We just use it?
They currently have taken on all of their own bookings for anything on their own property. So the baseball league now books the use of the baseball diamond at Signal Hill through the school district. So we are not part of that conversation for the use. of
Because we actually paid for that backstop. The village did back in the day.
So
Potentially.
if
I
you
don't
would
think
get,
we have any questions on the recreation services and fees bylaw. Does anybody have any questions on the report that's on the table right now?
No, it's all good.
Comments? Would somebody like to give first, second, and third reading to bylaw number 1914/2025?
First, second, and third.
Director Mack, second by Director Kennett. Any opposed? The motion carries. And a motion to adopt. Director Mack, Director Kennett, any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks. Any final questions for Ms. Burns?
thank
Oh,
you,
thank you.
Christine, and I
No
know,
worries. Happy to chat.
yeah,
If you'd
thank
like me
you.
to stick around, I'm happy to chat.
Thanks, Christine. Decision on late business. Late business, we have none. Director's notice of motion. Motion to adjourn.
There we go.
Kennett, second by Director Mack. Opposed, we adjourn.
Okay,